Bitcoin is an ideology that spawned a protocol that created an asset that circulates on a network. The ideology is sovereignty, sound money, freedom and property rights, right? Dignity of the human spirit, ownership of your life force, economic sovereignty, and immortality. That's the ideology of Bitcoin. And Satoshi gave us that.
Altcoins come and go, narratives change, but Bitcoin is the truth. The hardest money the world has ever seen. I've thought about it, long and hard, the pros, the cons, dug deep, questioned everything. And at the end of the day, you've got to make up your own damn mind. I have conviction. This is freedom. I'm a Bitcoin maxi.
All right, legends. How do they say it? Happy Wednesday. Right? I don't really know if I like people saying happy Wednesday, happy Friday, happy. What do you mean by happy? What happy? Anyways, legends, welcome to a beautiful Wednesday afternoon. Okay, nice and chilly here in South Africa. Currently 9:22 in the afternoon, early afternoon. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. Let me see if the sound is coming through. You should be able to see me. You should be able to hear me. And right, it should all be good. Guys, I just want to check something. I think I did increase the quality of my streams. Let's see. Yes, as you can see over here, I have increased the quality of my streams to 140p. 140p. You can get the highest definition if you have unlimited Wi-Fi, okay, uncapped Wi-Fi. You guys can now enjoy the technical details in crispy clear picture quality. Right. Okay, let's dive into the live stream. Legends, today, let me just put the music ever so slightly here in the background. There we go. Today is going to be a little bit of a lazy, relaxed, chilled live stream here from me, okay? There's not much happening. Bitcoin is still ranging. It's still ranging. I can talk about what I have spoken about okay, and maybe just do a little bit of a refresher, show you guys what I am looking at here on the chart from a support and resistance perspective, from a trend line perspective, from a Elliott wave perspective, you name it, okay? But also what you can do today is, if you have any trading related questions, maybe even some personal questions that you would like to ask me, all ears today, right? Let's keep it conversational. Let the comments go. Welcome to the mods. Welcome to everyone watching this live stream. And now let's do some proper technical analysis here on the price of Bitcoin. We can look at some altcoins if you want. Okay. And it looks like, as per the thumbnail, is this potentially a buy the dip opportunity? For now, the bullish structures are still intact. It would be nice to get a little bit of a pullback on some of our favorite altcoins, but I don't think we are going to get a large pullback just as yet. And I will show you guys exactly what I mean. Okay, if all goes according to plan, right? Something also that I would like to share on Ethereum. Guys, I have worked out a potential target that could be hit with high probability if we get a proper altcoin season. Okay, let me know in the comments if we get a proper altcoin season, the one that we have been waiting for, not these little spikes up and down and then it's back at bear market lows. If we get a proper face melting altcoin season like we remember from the previous bull cycles, what do you think the target for Ethereum will be? Because obviously Ethereum is the queen of the alts. If the queen of the alts starts running to the upside, we know we get explosion from the rest of the altcoin market as well. So what do you think a reasonable target would be for Ethereum to clock out during this cycle if we do get that proper altcoin season here to the upside? Let me know in the comments. Okay, and then also, yes, there are lots of questions. People want to know, I know, Stefan, you have asked me the question inside of my YouTube comments. How to draw proper timing fib. I will show, we'll keep it education as always. You know, I have a passion for education. So let's get into the value. Okay, the reason you are all here on the live stream. I see there's not a lot of people here, but thanks for sharing the love. I see the hearts coming through. And 9,800 people here on the live stream. Guys, you don't understand, okay? Yes, it's not good for my YouTube channel to have so little views. But it also excites me to an extent because I think, based on how little people are still watching these live streams, and I also see on Andy's channel, and I also see on Matt's channel, and some other influencers' channels, that retail is not here. Okay, it's the die-hard fans that are here. It's us buying these little dips. Guys, I think it's going to get crazy. I think it's going to get exciting because what I saw on ETH, Okay, let's get into the technical analysis. Right, legends, let me switch on some scenarios. Okay, I am just keeping it simple. There's a lot of people that ask me, Dewald, why are you looking at... Okay, so let's keep it educational and technical at the same time. For now, just grab my pen over here. We have a 1, 2, 3... potentially 4 is still busy forming. Okay, I don't know, maybe this is 4. Okay, and the low is in. Maybe we're going to make another low, right? We don't know, but it is very normal, very normal for a fourth wave to be longer than your second wave. Very normal. It can be 2, 3 times longer. When it starts getting 4 times, 5 times longer, that's where I get concerned. But at the moment, okay, if I measure the second wave from a timing perspective, let me take this time. Okay, well, let me take this time fib out the way. Right, guys, and this is now a little bit of education from a timing perspective as well. Remember, from an impulsive perspective, the market moves in 5 waves, not 6, not 6.5, not 7, not 8. It moves in 5 impulsive waves. Okay, that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is an impulsive wave. After an impulsive wave, you get a 3-wave corrective structure. They can be complex, they can be WXYs, they can be ABCDEs, they can be whatever you want to, but you get a 3-wave corrective structure, and then usually you get continuation in the upwards direction, in the direction of the impulse. Okay, if you have a three-wave structure, 1, 2, 3, and price starts overlapping this little pivot where you created 1, then it's a three-wave structure to the upside. That's dangerous, because then you can form impulses to the downside. 3 waves up, continuation to the downside. So as a technical analyst, that is what I'm always looking for, is the impulses to the upside and it's the 3-wave structures to the downside. That gives me directional bias, so I know in which direction to trade or to be a little bit more aggressive in that direction. Okay, so now let's take the time fib like I've just highlighted. Okay, and this is how you use the time fib. So I want to see how long is the second correction. So you take it from the tippy top, the highest point inside of that structure, to the lowest point in that structure. Okay, then I put it on number 3. Now I can see, well, how long is 4 at the moment? At the moment, 4 is not even twice as long as number 2. Perfectly normal. Okay. In Elliott wave theory, it is preferred that your 4th wave is at least the same length, okay, as your 2nd wave, which it is. It's surpassed it already. We know that we're still busy with the corrective structure, so we can still go to the 2, which is perfectly fine. And here where it gets yellow, here by the 3, that's where I'm like, okay, the probabilities are starting to decrease. And when the 4th wave, okay, if it still chops and chops and chops and chops and chops, and it starts getting here to the 4, that's where I start getting concerned from a timing perspective. But as you can see, it's still well within range to continue the consolidation sideways. Okay, it doesn't have to break out just as yet. It can still continue. Okay, right. So that's something that I check. Another thing that I checked, and this is the question that a lot of you have asked me, is that, okay, each impulse needs a correction. What do I mean by that? So using this as an example, and there are many examples, each impulse has a correction. Impulse, correction. Impulse, correction. Okay, so you can get crazy and you can say, well, if each impulse needs a correction, right, so let's look at this one over here. I take a time fib from the start of the impulse to the end of the impulse. And here you can see that you have an impulse and a correction that's almost twice the length. This little bad boy over here is almost twice the length in time compared to the impulse. Okay, so that's one way to measure an impulse versus a correction. Then again, okay, you have another impulse and a correction. Then you have another impulse, correction, impulse, and now you get what I'm saying. So the reason, okay, and I see this is the mistake that some of you are making, okay, because we're all here to learn together, is that each impulse needs a correction. Okay, so you can now even take it a step further, right? Here, look at the blue count. I have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 5 waves inside of the 3rd wave. Each impulse inside of the 3rd wave has a mini correction. Impulse, correction, impulse, correction, impulse. But now you have 5 waves. Okay, so you can count this as an impulse by itself. Right? Like wave 1, correction. Wave 3, correction. Wave 5, correction. Okay, so I see what some people have done is they have taken the time fib from this low to this high. Okay, and now they are saying that it's not time yet. No, you can't take it from this low. Okay, the reason for that is the impulse is not finished. Because if you take your time fib from this low, you are speculating that the 5th wave is finished. It's not finished. You can only take your time fib from the start of this impulse once it's finished. Okay, so the best way to pull your time fib is looking at this impulse. Okay, so this is where you need to take your time flip from. You take your time flip because now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 done. So you take it from this low, okay, from this low to this high. I hope what I'm saying here makes sense, guys. I really hope what I'm saying, because what I'm trying to figure out is that, look at the white count, You have a wave 1 and you have a 2. Impulse correction. Now we have a wave 3. So I want to take it from the start of 3 to the end of 3. I'm measuring the correction for this impulse. And you can see, well, okay, this low was, we already surpassed the 0.382 now, so it is safe to create a low and continue. Okay? So you need to now compare this impulse and the correction with each other. Right. So just wanted to quickly highlight that. So based on the timing from this low to this high, measuring this impulse, you can see that the low or the corrective structure has surpassed the minimum target. It can still continue to the 1-to-1 extension, even to the 2 extension. Okay? So basically what I'm trying to highlight here is it is time. Price can rocket at any moment because at least we have surpassed the minimum target. But if I use this example over here, you can see that this correction almost went to the 2 fib. So this little bad boy can still continue a little bit longer. Okay. Then, right, just to end this off from an educational perspective, once your 5th wave is in, okay, so let's play this out. Let's say price does this, okay, and your 5th wave is now finished. And I put my 5 wave over there. Now this is where it's going to become interesting. Okay. Now you take your time flip from this pivot to the end of the 5 wave structure because the entire structure is now finished. Then what you want to see, okay, is for the correction to finish after the 0.382 because this correction now needs to correct this impulse. Because the price is only allowed to move up in 5 waves. Okay, right, legends. Hope that makes sense. Let's continue. Okay, I will go through comments in a moment. So let's just wrap up the technical analysis here. Based on this structure, okay, I'm still expecting another leg to the upside to go and complete a 5 wave structure. This is my conservative count. There are way more bullish counts. Okay, but I'm just keeping it very conservative over here. I'm still expecting at least one more high. Okay, because there are more bullish case scenarios. If I clean it up and I select the most bullish case scenario, right, you can then expect to say that, well, maybe, okay, we are still not even done with wave 3. We're going to get another 4 and another 5 to the upside, which is a way more bullish structure. But for now, I'm just being conservative, okay? And I've said this many times during my live streams, as you guys can remember. And the reason, what I like to do is, okay, I like to go to the higher time frames. Let's go to the daily time frame over here. And now zoom into this structure. Okay, let's keep it simple. When you look at the daily time frame, okay, little tip of the trade, the smallest, sometimes people from an Elliott wave perspective, they will zoom into the 1 minute time frame, the 5 minute time frame, and they'll try and make sense of the structures. If something doesn't make sense, zoom out. Okay, because on the higher time frame, I can see a 1-2-1-2. I can only see a double 1-2 on the higher time frame. This is maybe, okay, so you have 1-2-1-2-3-4-5-4-5. So there's a chance for that 4-5 to play out over here. But there's also a chance that this is 1-2 and this is 1-2-3-4-5 inside of your 3rd wave. And then you create your bigger 4 and your another 5 to the upside. But for now, I am just counting it as 1-2-3-4-5. I'm keeping it conservative. 1, 2, because this could also be an AB. I think that B tapped the 1.618, so it's not valid. Okay, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is why I'm keeping it conservative, because there could be another 4, 5. So I'm just not talking about that leg just as yet. Okay, right, let's go back here onto the 1 hour time frame and let's quickly discuss some scenarios. Okay, so just quickly to wrap up this little scenario over here. Invalidation, $112,000 for this scenario, right? So for the bulls, you need to defend $112,000. We want to form a nice little 5-wave structure here to the upside. Okay, it also makes sense from a higher time frame perspective, like I've just pointed out. So it would be nice for the bulls to hold this area, okay, not tap 112 and still get one more, at least one more leg to the upside. It can get very technical, guys. There is another bullish case scenario that even if you do tap the invalidation, if price does tap the invalidation, it's not the highest probability, but there is still another bullish case scenario. I'm not going to dive into it just as yet because we haven't tapped the invalidation. Okay, I don't want to confuse everyone with 100 different scenarios that could play out over here. I have them prepared. They are in the back of my mind. But yes, this is not going to look good for the bulls. But there is still a bullish case scenario even if we do tap the invalidation. And maybe it could be that 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. But now this is a problem. To have a triple 1, 2 where your third 1, 2 is so much bigger than these 1, 2s, it's just not, it's not an invalidation, but it really impacts the probabilities. Okay. And then there's contracting diagonals to the upside, ending diagonals. Okay, I'm not going to talk about that. I think, guys, what I will do is, if price does not take the high and it taps the invalidation, I will do a live stream and I will talk about those scenarios that could potentially still play out. For now, let's focus on this structure. It is at the moment the highest probable structure. Invalidation has not been tapped, and we want at least the high still to be claimed. Based on the corrective structure over here, it does look like the probabilities for now are still higher to claim the high before we claim the invalidation. Okay, so keeping it simple. Right, now I want to zoom into 15-minute time frame. Let's look at this damn corrective structure. Okay, and then I will go through some comments. What a golden nugget. Jinx, welcome to the live stream, man. Earth, yo, real estate, bro. Real estate. Who wants to talk about real estate on a Bitcoin live stream? Real estate, bro. We can talk a little bit about real estate. Okay, so keep your questions coming. If you have a specific question around real estate, by all means, I will tackle real estate. My wife is actually very much into real estate. She likes to buy run-down houses and then she revamps them herself. Okay, she builds the kitchens. I know my wife is very handy. She likes to do these things herself and then she sells it for profit. So it's not particularly my cup of tea, but it's something that she enjoys doing. Right, but I do have knowledge in that department. Super thanks for teaching possible scenarios. We are going today to $114, then go up. Right, that is a possibility. We'll see how low this scenario can go. But what I can tell you guys is, yesterday what I told the Legends Pro community, we need to claim that high. If we claim this high, okay, there's a lot of bearish scenarios that will get invalidated and priced took the damn high. I was so happy that price took this high because there was a possibility to form a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We invalidated the impulse to the downside. There was also that possibility A, B, C. Well, we took the high, no longer valid. So a lot of the bearish case scenarios that takes us to $112,000 has been invalidated. Nothing's ever guaranteed in the market, okay? But the fact that we took this high does give the bulls a higher chance that we're going to take this high again. Okay. I wish I could use the words guaranteed. Nothing's ever guaranteed in the market. Based on technical analysis, the fact that we took this high does increase the probability that we're going to take this high, at least make one more high. At least one more, okay? In the most bullish case scenario, 2 more highs. Okay, after another consolidation, you expect another high to be taken. Right, so now let me highlight some of the scenarios that I'm currently watching. Okay, first scenario is a WXY, basically a very complex corrective structure. All you need to know is that your W has 3 waves inside of it, and then you have a very complex 3-wave corrective structure in another ABC WXY inside of your W. It's not common to have a W. For those of you that are very familiar with Elliott wave theory, it's not common to have a WXY inside of a W, so you really want to count it rather as an ABC. Okay, inside of a W, you have a X complex corrective structure, and you have another ABC inside of your Y that completes your bigger X. Okay, and now what you want to see in your Y wave, okay, these little Y wave guys, they are complex. They are very complex, these little Y waves. The most common Y wave structure is a flat, and this is the one that I've got highlighted in orange. You create an A, B, C flat. You take the high, which it did, and you take the low, which it could still do. So based on this scenario, one of the levels that I've got marked out here is the 0.618. $15,000. Okay, that $15,000 also aligns with the range low that we have been talking about here on the live stream. You can see here the beautiful alignment. You have the range low, okay, that we have been talking about for so long, and you have a WXY structure target, okay, where you take your trend-based fib from the high to the low to the high of X. Then you get your 0.618, your 786, your 1-to-1 extension. This is the one you don't want to hit because you're going to invalidate the bullish structure. Okay, so in this zone is where you want price in an ABC flat to find support and continuation to the upside. And the way that I plan to trade it is, as long as price is below my area of interest, I'm not interested. There's no limit orders for me. Okay, because what if price just waterfalls here to the downside and you're like, shit, Dewald said we're going to get a bounce. No, I didn't say we're going to get a bounce. I said there's a high probability we could get a bounce, but we still trade with good risk management. Okay, I will wait for price to get acceptance back above this level. This is where I will long. That is where I will put my stop loss below the wick, or the low, the low of the latest candle there to the downside. I need to buy confirmation. I need to buy into strength. I cannot just put limit orders here and close my eyes and hope for the best. That's not a confirmation trade. Okay, I'd rather have a higher entry and a confirmed entry, or higher probability entry, than just closing my eyes and hoping for the best. Okay, so guys, we still need to trade with good risk management, but this is one of the this is one of the scenarios. If price for some reason does not take the low and it shoots here to the upside, this is the invalidation for the scenario. Once price taps $122,000, 136, okay, there's a high chance you are not coming down here again. If price decides to rock and roll here to the upside and it taps this level, there's a high chance, high probability it's not going to come down here. Okay, so this is the invalidation for this scenario. Right. Or, invalidation actually sounds like a really bad word. This is the confirmation, maybe. Okay, let me rename this. Okay, because it should actually be a good box. This is confirmation. Confirmation. And let's make it green. Okay, that we are going higher. How's that? Right. Okay, this is one scenario. One of the other scenarios that I see some people are counting this. Okay, one of these scenarios where the corrective structure has come to an end over here. I don't particularly like this corrective structure because your Y wave has a double zigzag. You basically have an ABC, ABC, AB. You have a double zigzag, ABC, ABC. Okay, inside of your Y wave. And in the theory that you study, it says most commonly if your Y wave, okay, is a double zigzag. It takes the low of W, and it didn't take the low. So I'm not giving this scenario the highest probability at all. Okay, but I just quickly wanted to highlight it because I do see that there's a lot of people talking about this scenario. Okay. Right, what else do we have? Then we have Mr. Triangle over here. Okay, now this is, you guys can see, this is where it gets complex, right? You could still be forming that A, B, C, D, E. Okay, maybe E is in. I don't know, right? E could be in over here. Wait, let me grab E there. E could be in over there. Maybe E is going to come down a little bit lower. And I will come with, I will show you guys the trend-based fibs that I highlighted inside of our Legends Pro community. And I said, guys, well, you need to pay attention to the bounces. You need to get in from a swing failure perspective, protect position, because E wave, you know, I have seen E waves being tiny because everyone is expecting a little bit lower, and then the lower doesn't come and it just bounces from right where it is, where it made the low. Now it just bounces and it breaks out and it leaves without you. Okay, it would be nice because this wave here to the downside looks very one wavy. Okay, it would be nice to get a three wave here to the downside. Now that would be nice for an E to finish. It builds that beautiful trend. Okay, and you play the breakout, right? But you want to see a beautiful three-wave corrective structure, and most importantly, what you would like to see is claiming that pivot. You want price to break out and claim that pivot, okay? Because that is a confirmed three-wave structure. Because when you form a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that 4 is not allowed to go into that territory. So if price breaks down here and it taps this low, there's a good chance that it's going to come and claim these highs at least. Okay, that's usually what I look for from a breakout perspective. I have taught and had made many videos about my D-line strategy, but it does, what's the word that I'm looking for? There's more to it, okay? As you become experienced in Elliott wave theory, the D-line strategy becomes more powerful, especially when I see a three-wave structure to the downside. And you have a price movement up that claims the low. Then the D-line strategy for me is more powerful and I get more aggressive into that trade. Okay, that's where I will even risk 3 to 5% of my portfolio. Okay, 3 usually the maximum, and especially if I see a three-wave structure. Okay, and this is sometimes where people get the D-line strategy wrong. Okay, not necessarily wrong. They don't take profits aggressively enough. Is that you have a 5-wave structure? You form 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, they draw their trend. They're like, oh, this thing's gonna pop, and it does pop. It goes up, okay, but then it stops and it falls back down. Everyone is waiting for the high. Why did it make a lower high? It's because you have a 5-wave structure to the downside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I see a 5-wave structure to the downside, I will still play the breakouts. Usually what I will do is I will tell the legends, take profits. When you hit the 0.6, when you take your fib from the high to the low and you start hitting the 382, the 50%, the 618, you DCA yourself out of the position. Because if you have a 5-wave structure to the downside, there's a good chance you're not going to claim that high. Right, so it's also about reading the structure where the D-line was formed, giving it higher or lower probability. Okay, right, guys, so basically in this scenario, you know how I plan to trade this. It would be nice, okay, we don't always get what we want as technical traders, but it would be nice to get a 3-wave structure here. Have a nice little trend, you play the breakout, okay? And there's a chance you don't have to claim this low in this scenario. A, B, C, D, E, okay? The E does not claim the C, the D does not claim the B, and right, so far it's being respected. Okay, so everyone waiting for lower might not get it. And something I do want to highlight, guys, I mean, just from a market psychology perspective, for me as a technical trader, and maybe I can't speak for everyone, but for me as a technical trader, this is the easiest trade. This is the easiest trade. It's the best trade. From a risk to reward perspective, it's amazing. I know exactly how to trade this. It's the easiest trade because I just wait for price to dip below and get acceptance back above. That's where I long, that's where I put my stop loss. So I can't help but wonder, what if the market maker says, no, this is too easy. Okay, we're gonna hold this low, right? And it stuffs around over here and then it breaks out without taking this low. Because for me, that's an easy trade. Price is below, I don't trade. Price is above, I start thinking about longing. Okay. Right. So I think from a market psychology perspective, there's a good chance, okay, there's a lot of people waiting for this. So maybe, okay, the market makers loves to do two things. They either front run it or they scare the shit out of everyone. It goes deep. It goes really deep here to $113,000 inside of this consolidation area. I do have levels to the downside where I will attempt longs still. So although I'm saying I'm not interested in a long below my area of interest, from a trend-based FIP perspective, I will still be interested because I can still get in with good risk management. Where did I put that? Right, using my Fibonacci levels. For example, if price gets aggressive here to the downside, it's below my area of interest and it does this. Now that is an interesting long. I know where to put my stop loss and now I have a better entry because I'm using my level together with support, okay, as my trading decision. Anyways, guys, so what could happen is a front run or a little bit of a scary situation. Okay, you do not want to tap the one-to-one extension. Will I consider a long after we tap the invalidation? Yes, I will. But I'm going to change my profit taking areas because you could definitely get a bounce. If this gets a waterfall here to the downside, it taps the invalidation for the bullish structure to take the high. I can still take a trade, okay, but I will get out sooner. I'm not going to wait for the highs to be claimed. Okay, I will DCA myself out of the position. Right, so it's not to say that you can't take these trades. You can still take them with good risk management, playing your swing failure strategies at these levels. Okay, even if the bullish case scenario gets invalidated. Right, super chat. Andrea, thanks for the super chat. Hi Dewald, Sol please. Yes, I will look at some altcoins and I will definitely look at Solana. So let's just quickly wrap up the technical analysis. I'm going to discuss the last scenario that I'm looking at. There are many other scenarios as well, guys. I'm just focusing on the high probable scenarios that I think can play out over here. Okay, last scenario is, I don't actually have a folder prepared for it, but you basically form, okay, let me do this quickly, just draw it out quickly. You have a W, X, and now you're forming a triangle in your Y. Let me explain and draw this out quickly. So there's basically your triangle. Okay, trend, there we go. You build a triangle in a Y. That's what I'm saying, guys. Y waves can be very complex. Okay, they are very frustrating. Let me make this bigger, primary, so everyone can see. But basically what you form inside of a Y triangle is an A, B, C, D, E. You complete your E, your Y, and then you break to the upside. Okay, but can you guys see this scenario? Okay, and where's that other scenario that the triangle in the 4. It's basically the same result. Okay, whether this is an A, B, C, D, E in that 4th wave and we break to the upside, or whether you're building a smaller triangle in a Y wave, you're not going to take the low. Okay. Right. So you decide how you want to trade this with good risk management. There's a couple of ways in which you can trade this very successfully, okay, with good risk management. Right. Cool. Those are basically the scenarios, guys. That's what I wanted to discuss here on the price of Bitcoin. Let me go through some comments. Delete this. Yeah, let me go through some comments. But before I do, remember down in the description, if you appreciate the education and the alpha that I bring over here, okay, this is your way to support the channel, the work that I do, the education that I provide, right? Bluffing 20% cash back on the money that you deposit. Okay. What is cooking here with also, you can win $5,000 sign-up bonus. You can win $5,000 sign-up bonus by using the link down below. BTCC up to $10,000 sign-up bonus. I still got my BTCC. Oh, I still have my trades running here, my swing trades running here on BTCC. I was just looking at Theta. Theta is doing absolute amazing things here to the upside. You know, it's always that thing, guys. Even as an experienced trader, it's always that thing of, I should have gone more heavy. Okay, but then when the trade turns against you, oh shit, I should have risked less. Okay, it's just that, you know, story. But I'm happy about the trades here to the upside. And also Femix, guys. Femix also 20% cash back on the money that you deposit, up to a max of $1,000. So it's, if you deposit $5,000, if my math is correct, my math is not always the greatest, you will get $1,000, right, to trade with for free. Okay. And also, depending on which task you complete, money gets airdropped into your account. So if you guys want alternatives where you only need an email and a password, or a cell phone number and a password to sign up, here are the links for the exchanges that I use. Okay, where you get the best deals that these exchanges has to offer. You're not going to get these deals by Googling an exchange and signing up by yourself. Okay, I talk to these people, the CEOs, the teams, and they organize us the best deals. Okay, guys, weeks as well. 25% discount on your trading fees. You get upgraded to VIP status 1. Okay, now, oh, you also get, yeah, you're that 20. No, absolutely amazing, right? All of the exchanges that I'm currently using. But the most likely scenario is still that BTC will take out the highs. Yes, Phantom. So based on everything that I have said, the highest probability scenario at the moment is still taking out the high. Okay, unless things change. Okay, and that little pivot was very crucial, guys. You don't understand how crucial that pivot is, because yesterday, this is something that we discussed, and I'm not sure if Simon is here in the live stream. We discussed this, and Simon was, you know, the pennies just started dropping, and you know, that's what I love to see, is that Simon asked me, Dewald, why do you want that high? Well, why is that high so important to you? Okay, and the reason was, if I'm looking at this as an ABC structure, okay, you formed an A wave here to the downside, you formed a B over here, and now we're just going to fall here in a C wave to the downside. Okay, let me switch on the lines. Let me explain why this high was so important to me. Is because after you formed your B wave, you want to form impulses to the downside, right? So I looked at this as to say that, well, this could now be a 1. This is a 2, and now you're forming a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inside of your third wave. So you form a 3, 4, 5. This is the structure that could have invalidated the bullish scenarios. Okay, so you have to form a 1, okay, a 2, and a 3 to the downside. Inside of your third wave over here, you need to form 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And because we took that high, we invalidated a 1, 2. You invalidated the 1, 2. Okay, so you can't form an impulse to the downside anymore. The structure took the high. That's why I got excited, because we took this high, because it does open the door that the bulls have a much higher chance of taking the high before we tumble down here to $110,000, $105,000. Right, so to your point, I don't see a high probability for this scenario, okay, unless that WXY that I've discussed, where the Y forms the flat, gets a massive crash there to the downside. But I have gone through all the scenarios. Okay. I I see many analysts showing that we are in a 1-2 setup. What is a 1-2 setup? I don't even know what that is. Okay, maybe I know what it is, but people give it different names. Okay, many analysts are showing that we are on a 1-2 setup. Phantom, if you can give me some more clarity on that, and then I'll share some my thoughts on that one. 80. Dewald, I did miss the bottom of Cardano. Looking to buy spot in the price now. Do you think it's a situation the best? Okay, look, guys, so you're ready to go through some altcoins, okay? We all, we know Bitcoin is ranging. There's a higher, okay, let's just keep it simple. There's a high chance, okay? Whatever happens over here, there's a high chance that we're still going to take out the high. So there's still a good chance that the alts are still going to give us those little nice pops here to the upside. So as per the super chat that I received, I did not forget, let's go and have a look at Solana. Okay, I do see that Bitcoin dominance is getting a little bit of a reaction, a little bit of a bounce. And I did say, be careful of those bounces, because if you're FOMOing into your favorite altcoin, these little bounces on Bitcoin dominance, okay, can wreck you. They can wreck you if you're trading with high leverage. Okay, we are getting a reaction. We are getting a bounce. And this, ladies and gentlemen, if you are FOMOing into altcoins without a proper strategy and risk management and where to take profits, this can blow your account up. You don't understand. Okay, right, so let's go and look at Solana. And if you haven't done so already, remember to smash up that like button, guys. We don't have a lot of people in the stream, and I know we are. This community have broken many records on this YouTube channel, as small as it is. Okay, there's been many instances where the likes superseded the amount of people watching the live stream. Maybe it's one of those days. Okay, it would be absolutely amazing. Right, so just want to quickly look at Solana here on the daily time frame. Oof, guys, I know this looks messy, so let me clean this up. Just want to see, why did I have that box? Okay, so why did I? Okay, cool. So legends, this is what I see. Let's just put it on the log scale. Okay, this is what I see for Solana, just keeping it very simple over here. Okay, it looks like Solana formed a beautiful 1-2-1-2, double 1-2 combo. So you would expect a 3-4-5-4-5. So let's focus for now on the white structure, the one where you can see the line. Solana has formed a 1-2-3. Okay, and now I'm waiting for the fifth wave. This is potentially now your fifth wave here to the upside. Can it get more bullish? Yes. The one thing I do want to highlight, when you guys see a target like this, and let's say in 3 months from now, Solana is over here, you might be, you're going to be one of those people that ask me, Dewald, how did you not see this? Why was your target so low? It's a two-part answer, guys. I am being conservative. Okay. The other part to the question is that in a bull market, in a proper altcoin season, your fifth waves can overextend. Specifically in bull markets, your fifth wave can overextend. It's also referred to as your retail wave. This is where FOMO kicks in. This is usually the wave that brings retail back into the market. Okay, I think it needs to go a little bit higher and claim the highs. I think once Solana claims the highs here at $300, that is where retail will come back. And then retail will push the price further for all of us to take profits. Okay, so fifth waves can overextend their targets to the upside, because in a bull market, FOMO, people just buying with everything that they have, selling their house, their wives, their cats, whatever the case might be. You guys know how euphoric and how stupid things can get during a proper face melting altcoin season. And that is where your fifth waves can extend. So let me keep it simple. Based on the technical analysis, okay, this is a reasonable box, a conservative box where I see the fifth wave finishing. Can it go higher? Of course. Okay. Right. This is also where I'm planning to take a large majority of profits on my Solana spot bags. because I do have Solana and I bought way lower, and I've just been holding on. I've got Rune and Solana and Render, okay, still holding on my spot bags that I bought during the bear market. Okay, so based, okay, now I need to go back to the regular scale. Right, so I like to work out targets on the regular scale because it's more conservative. So if I take, to work out this little target, okay, to work out a reasonable target for this little fifth wave over here, I will take a trend-based fib from the high to the low, and I will reverse it to the upside. And a reasonable target, if things are going to get crazy like we think it's going to get, is the 1.618. Okay, so let's just put it there. I think that's a reasonable target for Solana. If momentum continues, everything stays intact. You know, intact, we do get the proper altcoin season here to the upside. It does look like Solana needs one more leg to finish. And this is potentially the start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. ABC, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You guys get the point. But I'm expecting an euphoric move here to the upside. And $417 sounds insane, but I don't think it's that crazy. Right, so that is what I see here on the price of Solana. On the smaller time frame, guys, you also need to tell me, do you want smaller time frame analysis on your favorite alt, or do you want higher time frame analysis? Targets, you know, doesn't make sense from a structural perspective. So, I mean, this looks impulsive. I'm not going to go into the details. This looks impulsive. This looks corrective. Three-wave structure. Beautiful three-wave structure. Nice little breakout. Okay, you also formed that little bull flaggy over there. Okay, you could have played that breakout as well. And at the moment, Solana is at resistance. So you could get a little bit of a pullback. But the one thing that I always look at, okay, so let me take this fib out the way. Now I want to measure this impulse here to the upside. So I take a trend-based fib from the low to the high, to the low, reverse it to the upside, because I'm trying to figure out, well, is it time for Solana to have a bigger correction? So the one thing I want to highlight, guys, is if this is a 1, this is a 2, and this is forming a third wave to the upside, you don't really want it to start slowing down when it starts hitting these levels. You want the third wave to at least go and tap the 1.618. So Solana, like many other altcoins, can continue to have shallow corrections, okay, until it hits this level at least. Then you would expect a larger correction. Maybe it comes back down to support. It presents another buying opportunity. You play the break-off trend. Okay, so for things to stay intact and for the bullish momentum to stay intact, you want this to still continue a little bit higher. At least it needs to continue to the 1-to-1 extension. Because remember, guys, in Elliott wave theory, your third wave is not allowed to be the shortest. And at the moment, it's still the shortest. So you at least want Solana to continue until it hits the 1-to-1 extension. That is the minimum target. Not a common target for a third wave. Third waves really loves the 1.618. But this is your minimum target if this is going to be your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, minimum target, third wave. Yes, third waves, guys, obviously, you know, they can go to the 2.618, 3.618. It could literally and just continue here to the upside. Shallow retracements. We think we're going to get a retracement, and it just continues, and it just continues. And until we get a larger correction, like in wave 2, then we can only say, okay, once it stops and it slows down, maybe it hits the 2 extension over here. Okay, and then it slows down and we get a deeper correction, and we say, okay, well, now I see a correction that's almost the same size as wave 2. You could expect one more high and it's done. Okay. Right, so I don't know how aggressive this is going to get, but for now, based on the technical analysis, if we want the altcoin season to continue, Solana still needs to continue. Okay, so you could get shallow little, look at those little consolidation areas. Those little, you want to see those shallow consolidation areas. Okay, momentum needs to continue. I can tell you guys now, if Solana comes back down here, if it comes back down, okay, for a retest, it's not going to look good. Okay, it's not going to look good. Unless this is a 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, but you really want the third wave to continue. Okay, you don't really want deep pullbacks like this at this stage, okay, of the phase that we are in. Shallow corrections, short little corrections that you can play the breakout here on 15-minute time frame. Okay, I mean, there's been so many breakouts that you could have played. It's beautiful. But you don't want the larger consolidation. It's too early. Okay, it's fine. You know, if you play the 15-minute time frame, you have your support over here. It comes back down. It bounces. Okay, you play the break of trend, whatever. It's fine to have these small little pullbacks, but you don't want a larger pullback. It's not going to look good for altcoin season to continue. Right. Can we buy Solana spot? Yeah. Well, that is absolutely a question that you need to answer for yourself. Okay. I do think that there are tokens that looks better from a risk to reward perspective. I'm not, as you know, Solana might be the best fundamental token to buy at the moment, you know, based on your analysis, but I can't make that decision, guys. Okay, I can't make that trading decision for you. Is the best time, unfortunately, to have bought was the break of this trend. The best time was to buy that little low over there. When you take your FIP from the low to the high, 618, okay, most probably got tapped to perfection, if I'm not mistaken. Now look at that, 618, tapped to perfection. If you did not buy here, and if you did not buy the breakout, you need to decide whether the risk to reward still makes worth it for you. Remember, okay, we are speculating on altcoin season to still go and complete this fifth wave. What if we don't get a proper altcoin season? What if it takes the highs and it dumps? Okay, that is usually my minimum target for most of the altcoin swing trades that I'm in. This is where I'm going to start taking profits. I don't care about the maximum targets. That's where I leave my moon bags open. They must run. Okay, but this is where I take my initial investment out plus a little bit of profits. Okay, so from a risk to reward perspective, if you want to be a calculated, responsible trader, you need to do the following. Okay, you need to take your long tool and let's say you buy over here. The highs of a structure is always a profit taking area. Always, 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 always. Technical analysis 1-on-1. The high of a structure is always a profit taking area because this is dreams. These are dreams. This is technical. Okay. So if you're playing a larger breakout, okay, the high of the structure is always a TP area. So now where do you put your stop loss? Maybe below that low. So from a risk to reward perspective, it's a 1.44 risk to reward. This is a trade that I personally will not take. I will not take this trade. Okay, so you are gambling and you're going to either get very lucky to the upside or you're going to regret that you took this trade because technically it's not worth taking this trade. Hopefully it's the best trade that you're going to take. I can't make that decision. Right, I wish it was, Sherry, I wish it was that easy. Okay, but this is how I plan my trades, guys. This is how I plan. I cannot speculate on a high like that, right? Because now obviously if you draw it up, okay, now the risk reward still makes sense. But we don't know. We can't predict the future. I don't have a crystal ball. From a structural perspective, from an Elliott wave perspective, there's a chance that we are going to hit this high. Okay, but from a technical level, the most important thing that they teach you from a technical perspective is that you need to take profits at the highs. Okay, so you need to calculate your risk to reward based on technical levels. Okay, right, hope that makes sense. I'm deleting all my technical analysis over here. Let's just leave that. Okay, and yeah, we can take that out. Right. Who else asked a question in here? Let's go through some more questions. Let me just do this. Okay, but I know my head's going to be in the way over here. Right, guys? Let me put my head on the other side. There we go. Okay. There we go. Okay. Thanks for the love, everyone. Remember to smash up that like button. We're doing a relaxed, chilled live stream over here. Remember, if you guys have any trading related questions, it could be personal questions as well. Okay. We want it all, Dewald. What do you want it all? Mr. Crypto Big Brains, legend. Jack, always appreciate the mod here in the channel supporting me. Okay. Can we buy some? Okay. If we've gone through that. Fetch, Dewald, can it still take the lows based on the local structure? Fetch. Let's go and look at Fetch. It's one thing about ICP as well, guys. Fetch and ICP, I think, might be in the same boat. Where is Mr. Fetch? Okay, I do have a nice bag in Fetch. Very happy with the bags that I've got in Fetch. But I just want to see something here. I need to go to the daily. And I want to go to the log scale. I want to see what is cooking over here. I'm just going to take this trend out because that's just going to confuse me. And then switch off these trends as well. Okay. Now I want to see this leg. I just want to quickly see this leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's a good chance that this ABC corrective structure. Can you see the impulse? Okay, and can you see the three-wave corrective structure? Didn't take the low, so it's a valid impulse, valid three-wave structure. There's a chance that it could rock and roll here to the upside without taking the low. Question is, can you make another low? Okay, grab all of the liquidity, still make a higher low compared to that low, and then continue. That's what we're trying to figure out. Okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, well, guys, there's a problem, I must say. There's a 1, 2, 3. Okay, I don't even know if you can label this as a 1. Okay, because I see a three-wave structure to the downside. This becomes your 2. Then you have another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Then you have another correction, and then you have your 4, and now you have your 5. Because remember, C wave has to be 5 waves. The question now is, can this still be a number 4? And you're still going to make another 5 to the downside. Okay, because I'm guessing that is why people are asking the question. Remember the rule that your fourth wave is not allowed to go into the territory of 1. Ideally, you don't want it to tap the 0.618 when you take your FIP from number 2 to number 3 over here. Yeah, did tap the 0.618. So it's not an impulse. This cannot be an impulse that continues to the downside. There's a problem. Okay, guys, this is what I know it's going slow, and you might be thinking, Dewald, can you just move on to the next altcoin? Guys, these things takes time, okay? You're risking your hard-earned cash over here. You want to make sure that you are, you know, you've done your analysis properly over here, okay? This also looks like a three-wave structure. That's not how you want to start an impulse to the downside, which tells me, based on this, just based on this, it tells me whatever is happening to the downside is corrective. It's not impulsive, which is a good sign. Because impulsiveness to the downside has to have 5 wave structures. You want to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a problem over here. When you make a high, that's what I look for. Is it a 5 wave or is it a 3 wave? Very important. Sorry guys, let me put myself back here onto the screen. Very important for me to check that out. Okay, now the question is, the only structure that still makes sense, okay, to take the low is if you're forming a contracting diagonal. So all of this becomes 1, because I mean this is a straight line to the downside. Now you have 2. Now you want to form 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in your wave 3. Then you get another 4, and then you get another 5 to the downside. But the structure to the upside looks impulsive. This looks like So it has to be an A then. Okay, then you get a B, and now you're going to get a C to the upside. Yeah, guys, bearish case scenarios. Remember, there's always bearish case scenarios. I must be honest with you guys. This, okay, doesn't look good to start bearishness to the downside. Okay, so the only bearish case scenario, okay, that I see is, okay, let's first reverse it. Bullish, you don't want to take this low. This does count like a completed C wave to the downside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. However you want to count the structure, it does look like it's a C wave, or it could be a WXY to the downside. However, A, B, C to the downside, it doesn't matter. It looks corrective to the downside because of that little mess there on top. So for the bulls, you don't want to take this low. This is impulsive. Okay, maybe there's a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. This is corrective structure. You break the trend, and now you want to find upwards momentum. And for the bears, okay, this is going to look scary, okay, but there's probabilities associated with it. For the bears, what you want to see is this. Okay, maybe a contracting diagonal, some sort here to the down. It can't be an impulse. You've invalidated an impulse. It's not pretty, guys. It's not pretty. But basically, you get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Not the highest probability because of what happened over there. But here's your bearish case scenario. You still form a larger C wave. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Should not take the high, okay, because then you're going to start looking at expanding structures, guys. Okay, the structure already doesn't look pretty. It's just, I don't know how else to explain it. It looks messy to the downside. I'm trying to force a bearish count in here, and it looks messy. Okay, for the bulls, you want to hold the low. This needs to be impulsive, and this is finished corrective structure over here. Now that feels more comfortable. It looks sexier. I don't have to force anything over here. It feels like I need to force the bearish count over here. Okay, so just to keep it simple, the bearish case scenario is not invalidated, but it carries low probability. Okay. Right. So is there a chance to take the low? Always. There's always a chance to take the low. I would say, well, you know, if the bulls can defend this low, great. If it wants to take this low, fine. You know, if it comes back into my buy box, I will buy, because this could still be an A, B, C, where it takes this low, but you do not take that low. Then you form an impulse, a corrective structure, and you continue to the upside. So if Fetch comes back into my buy zone, well, that's where I get interested to add to my position. Okay, because remember, it still has a lot of levels to the downside. Okay, if I zoom into this little structure, let's just make sure that we go back to regular over here. You take a fib from the low to the high. Right, now this looks great. Look at where Fetch found support at the 618. Okay, it can still come down and tap the 786 and then explode back to the upside. And what you have is a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. It's an impulsive structure. This is a 3-wave structure, and then it explodes back to the upside. Okay, so the bulls, this is your low that needs to be protected, not this one, because you could still form a 3-wave structure here and then continue. Or the low is in. You broke trend and you just continue here to the upside. This is why I started buying Fetch in my box, because I don't know if it's going to form a larger 3-wave structure or if the correction is done. But from a timing perspective, okay, let's go check that out. Remember, I always teach about time. You have an impulse. Was this time? Was it time for the low to be in? Okay. You take your time from the low to the high. Yes. It did meet the minimum requirement. This low was made after the 0.618, which is, there's your minimum requirement. So there's a chance that this low could be in, and this is why I bought Fetch over here. Can it still make a three-wave structure and come and tap the 786? Of course, this is where I will buy a little bit more. Guys, I did share with some of you, if you can remember correctly, that I still have a lot of dry powder to deploy. I have not deployed everything that I wanted to deploy. So if I can get another opportunity, I'm going to get a little bit more aggressive. Okay. Right, you're currently getting a nice little dump here to the downside. Okay, what is happening with Bitcoin? Is it falling? Yes, it's falling, it's falling. We're getting a nice little buying opportunity, buy the dip opportunity, who knows? Okay, now that looks better as a trend line. That looks way better. Guys, these little trends, it literally looks like a straight line here to the downside. I don't like them. I like a little bounce, and then it continues to fall. And then those trends becomes more interesting to me. Okay, so let's see what's cooking. Nice little selling pressure kicking in. Let's see. Alts taking a little bit of a pullback. Remember, guys, we have not had a nice little flush out from the altcoins. Okay, when you look at Fetch, because I can just imagine how people are FOMOing. Okay, this is the danger about altcoin season. People buy the tops. Okay, people FOMO, they just buy anywhere. Okay, it would be nice to get a little bit of a flush out and a continuation, or even a flush out, a proper flush out, and then a continuation. Because the leverage and the liquidity that people are playing over here is absolutely insane. Oh, I missed the breakout. Let me just FOMO in here with 10x leverage. Market makers will wipe you out. They will clean out your account, and then it will continue. Okay. Right. This could be forming multiple 1-2s. 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. So, I mean, the low that you want to see hold in this structure is this low here at 67 cents. Okay. I am late again, Mr. Jack. But you're here, right? Could you do ADA? Let's go and look at ADA. Sorry, guys. I know I spent a lot of time analyzing some of the altcoins, but I hope it gives you the education that you need so that you can go and apply it to your altcoin as well, because I don't always get time to do everyone's altcoins. And if you can see how I'm analyzing it, you can take that knowledge and analyze it on your favorite altcoin as well. Okay, Mr. ADA, where did I hide you? I know it's here on the top somewhere. Here we go, Mr. ADA. Ugh, beautiful flash out. I love these little pullbacks. Guys, remember, nothing goes up in a straight line. I want to see people get flashed out. You will often see, guys, even in parabolic moves, okay? I mean, it doesn't look significant. I can tell you guys now. Where's the previous bull cycle here? Let's look at this. Oh, this was insane. Okay, I mean, this was absolutely insane. But you can still see, even in extreme bullish environments, you get those flash outs along the way. And they are quite significant. I mean, from the high there to the low, oops, wrong tool. From the high to the low, okay, 33% to the downside. I mean, the momentum was crazy here to the upside. But can you see that if you trade these little momentums, okay, because this is what a lot of people do. Things are getting crazy, okay? I think ADA is going to higher levels, and they FOMO into the trade. That little move, can you guys see? If you bought the top or in the top region, this little wick here to the downside is a 34% wick. It's designed to flush out high leverage traders. People that FOMO in with the entire account at 10x leverage got liquidated. They out. No more account. Can't trade. Lost everything. But look at what happened. The momentum is just aggressive to the upside. So you need to be careful with leverage, because you can get these little flushes along the way that's designed to wipe out high leverage traders. Okay, guys, 10x leverage on an altcoin is too much. Okay, unless you have a protected position and yeah, basically you're applying good risk management. Okay, but if you are buying, just buying blindly with 10x leverage, 5x leverage, you have a high chance of getting liquidated before you make any money. Okay. I mean, look at that flush out, also 30%. Anyways, guys, all I'm trying to do over here is just to make sure that you guys, you know, you are sensible to see these little corrections to the downside. Okay, nothing just goes up in a straight line. You will get the flushes along the way. Okay, that flushes people out. Okay, maybe not this aggressive, but you get the point that I'm trying to prove. Right, so let's look at ADA quickly. Not going to spend too much time. What I can say is that this looks awfully corrective. Very, 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 very corrective. And the easiest way for me to explain it without going into the WXYs and the ABCs and me trying to teach you your ABCs, okay, it's very overlappy. Okay, very overlappy. And when you see a very overlappy structure where the price is just knocking each other out the whole time, it's not impulsive. Okay, when you see that, there's a very, very good chance that it's corrective. Okay, because impulsive structures are aggressive in one direction. So you have an impulsive structure and now you have a correction. So there's a good chance that the low is in, and now it's now forming another impulse here to the down, to the upside. Okay, so there's a good chance that this momentum is going to continue here to the upside. So that's basically, in a nutshell, the daily analysis here on ADA. Okay, so now I don't know if ADA, guys. Now this is the one thing I'm not going to spend too much time here, but I don't know if ADA took this low on all of the exchanges, because here on the Binance pair, did it take the low? It's very important. Did it take the low? Yes, it did take the low. On the Binance pair, it took the low. So, which means that this is the end of the correction. And whatever is forming over here, okay, is the start of something new. There's some nice volume starting to kick in. So this could be 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. Maybe you get that higher low and then it continues, because it still needs to form a 1 and a 2 before you get 3, which is the best wave to trade. Because I thought I could have used 1, 2, 3. I can't. This structure is invalidated. That's not a 1, 2. So this is something fresh that's starting over here. You could still expect a deeper correction on ADA. It's not like Fetch. No, Fetch is the wrong one. Anyways, okay, before you get your magic wave here to the upside. Right, the pullback will come. Okay. Right, let's go. Do we have bullish CVD? Let's go check out CVD. Let me just refresh it before I say anything, because sometimes CVD stuff's around. We have one confirmation. Okay, but it looks like we took that low. Let me check on the BTC chart. Yeah, yes, we took the low. Right, so that bullish CVD has been invalidated. So very neutral at the moment, locally. But. I'm looking at this pivot and where price is at the moment. Do we have bullish CVD against those pivots? And well, I mean, CVD is absolutely tanking on yellow. Blue we do have. Okay, we do have. The problem is with the CVD, guys, the problem with looking at this pivot and this pivot is between each of these pivots, there was bullish CVD. Bullish, bullish, bullish. And it took the high, took the high, took the high. Okay, so all of the bullish CVD over here, all of it already played out. It's already played out. So you can't really look at this CVD because each pivot created bullish CVD and it took the high, played out, played out. Okay, so this is why I'm now focusing on what's happening here. I actually don't care about the CVD anymore because it already played out. Okay, and because price took the low, well, now we have to wait. There's nothing we can do now. It's neutral at the moment. We have to wait. This, you can't say, well, there's bullish CVD on yellow between those two pivots. No, because it took the low, it's invalidated. So CVD is in a spot where you just have to sit on your hands and you have to wait for price to develop. Okay. Cool, legends. Wait for the break of the trend. If you want confirmation, wait for the break of the trend. Wait for a 15-minute body candle to close above. Whatever sign that you use for proof of support or proof of resistance, wait. Okay, don't FOMO into trades unless you have a FOMO strategy. Okay, or maybe an SFP line got tapped, or whatever your trading strategy is. Okay, maybe you're trading the FIPS over here. Well, then why are you getting in over here? If you're a FIP trader, why are you getting in over here? What's your reason? I don't see any reason to get in over here. If price does this, then I will say, okay, well, I understand you got in over here. That's your stop loss. Price breaks out, you protect your position. Well, now that is a trading strategy. Swing failure from the low. Okay. Damn it. Okay. SFP from the low. Start trading back above the 0.618. Now that is a proper trading strategy. That would make sense to me why you got into the trade. If you trading Fibonacci's here, for example, and you jumping into a trade over here, I'm going to ask you, well, okay, very simply, I'm going to ask you this. If you jump into a trade over here, let's say you're targeting the high, your stop goes below the wick. Remember the 3 W's, guys. Why are you entering? Where is your risk management? And where are you planning to take profits? Now, this to me is not, I don't understand why you're getting in here. Okay. If you cannot answer all 3 W's with confidence, you should not take the damn trade. Okay. Do not take the trade. Do not take the trade. Do not take the trade. Okay. I'm not saying you should not take this trade. I'm saying that if you cannot answer your 3 W's confidently, do not take the goddamn trade. Okay, because I know I'm still going to get a lot of questions from people when retail starts coming back. Those questions usually pop up a lot more frequently. Dewald, I bought at this level. Where must I take profits? Guys, you don't understand how dangerous that question is. I get frustrated with those people that ask that question, but I mean, I understand it's new people. They don't know what they're doing, whatever the case might be. I'm trying to help them. But for you watching the stream, you are part of the die-hard fans. You should know that you do not take the trade unless you can successfully answer these 3 questions. Any trading strategy has the 3 W's inside of it. Something that I came up with. Okay. Why are you entering? Where is your risk management? Where do you plan to take profits? If you ask me inside of a live stream, Dewald, I entered at this level. Can you please check out the altcoin because I don't know where to take profits? Dewald, I entered, yeah, I'm underwater. I'm going to ask you, where the fuck is your stop loss? Okay. These are the things that happens, especially when retail comes back. I remember December, okay, when we had that mini altcoin season to the upside. I got that question so many times. Dewald, I bought over here. I don't know where to take profits. Where would you take profits? And it frustrates me. It's like you didn't plan your trade, okay? You just entered because you could click a button. Right, and then they want you to plan their trades for them. Right. Anyways, guys, just wrapping it up here on Mr. Cardano. Okay. This is the low of your corrective structure. Whatever is forming here looks like it's the first leg of your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so you would still expect a little bit of a deeper retracement. It can even go to the 786. It can get quite nasty. Okay, but the wave 1 can also just continue, right? It can just before it makes that deeper correction. So for now, what I do like is that I can say with confidence is that since this high was made, whatever happened here is corrective. And the chances based on this structure is higher to take out the high before you take out the low. Let's just keep it simple. Based on this, okay, it looks like you're still going to take out the high before you take out the low. Let's just keep it simple. Okay, remember the 6 P's. Is it the planning piece? Because my mind went into the gutter straight away, Mr. SGS. Right, remember the 6 P's. Yeah, please remind us, Mr. SGS. Remind us about the 6 P's. Okay, Dumpsday, 13 likes away from 150 legends, almost there. Okay, can we get the likes to surpass the amount of people watching the live stream here at the moment? Okay, is Doge forming 2-wave now? Love the tough love, Shane C. Yes, you guys don't. You know, when you're sitting on this side of the camera, you guys don't understand how frustrating it sometimes gets when you see people making silly, like really basic mistakes. Not like, you know, you're an advanced trader and you got stopped out because you did, you know, Elliott wave count incorrectly. I mean, yeah, that's understand. I still make those mistakes as well, but I can tell you guys now, I do not burn accounts. My risk management is always in place. Always, always, always. If my analysis is wrong, I will get stopped out. Okay, that's it. I get stopped out, right? So we trade again, because any good trader gets stopped out multiple times. Okay, right. Woo. Getting a bouncy bounce. Let's see if it can hold. One. You guys, this is just, you know, I don't even want to try and counter structure here to the downside. It's just an absolute choppy mess here to the downside. Okay, this could be an A, B, and this is now your C wave forming here to the downside. This could be multiple 1, 2s. Maybe this is your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, but it overlapped. Can't be a 4 and a 5. I don't know what it is forming. Maybe it's forming a 3-wave structure, a 5, 3, 5. I don't know what it's going to form over here, but I do have my levels ready. If you want to know the Bitcoin technical analysis, it's in the beginning of this live stream. So if you want all the levels and everything that I'm watching, just rewind a little bit. Okay. For me, it's not time to jump into the trade just as yet, unless you have a swing position open. Okay. Right, CME gap at 115. Let's go check out the CME gap. You guys know that I'm not a CME gap trader because I trade levels. CME gaps are very powerful inside of stock markets like the S&P 500, Nasdaq, gold, silver. Very powerful to have a CME gap strategy, but inside of crypto, it doesn't. It's nice to look at it for extra confluence. Where can it like to be? Here we go. Let's see. Okay, interesting. Right. So let's go here to the 4-hour time frame. Just look at this little CME gap that everyone is talking about. Okay, so we do have a nice little CME gap over here. Okay, but it's also ironic that this little CME gap aligns with the levels that I have identified already. So I don't use CME gaps to trade, guys. Okay, because now the question is, are you going to close it or are you going to leave it behind? Because CME gaps in crypto does not need to get filled. Doesn't have to. Still a CME gap at $9,000. There's one at $22,000. There's a lot of CME gaps that never got filled, especially in a trending market. CME gaps that gets created inside of a range usually gets filled because price goes down and up and down and up and down and up, and if there's a CME gap there, it will get filled. If there's a CME gap there, it will get filled. But in a trending market, okay, very often CME gaps does not get filled. And you will see that most of the CME gaps that did not get filled on Bitcoin, if you go do some back testing on the daily time frame, go look at all the CME gaps that never got filled, you will see that they took place in a trending market. Okay. But yes, these levels that you've identified from a CME gap perspective also aligns with my technical analysis, where if price takes the lows of this entire range, okay, let me go to the 1-hour time frame. Let's see, trend-based FIB from the high to the low to the high. So you can see this is the trend-based FIB that I'm currently keeping an eye on. And then, ladies and gentlemen, you have the range low. exactly the way. There's your range low. Let's just make it a different color. Okay, there's your range low. And as per the technical analysis that I discussed during the beginning of the stream, okay, this is a very important level. Okay, without even me looking at the CME gap. If price comes down, it gets acceptance back above. I know where to long and I know where to put my stop loss, together with a 0.618. If it gets a little bit more aggressive, beautiful, you have a consolidation area over here at the 786, and this is where I will also attempt a long. So whether you fill the bottom of the gap or the top of the gap, because you could also bounce on top and break out, or you can fill the entire gap, but these are the exact two levels from my technical analysis that I'm also looking for longs, and I don't care about the CME gap. Okay, it just so happens that that the technical levels that I'm also looking at aligns with the CME gap, but I don't trade CME gaps. Okay, don't watch them, don't look at them on the stock exchange. If you play the stock exchange like the Nasdaq, S&P 500, okay, then you want to pay attention to CME gaps because they get way more respected and they get closed more often. There's actual trading strategies designed around CME gaps inside of the stock markets. But in crypto, okay, they have low probabilities. Hey, Hannes, my brother in the house. Dewald, yes, boot. Happy trading. Yes, happy trading. Happy trading, my brother in the house. Making this, you know, this music that's playing here, guys. This. He made for me, for this live stream, for all of you, right? Amazing music here in the background. Right, Dewald, screw CME gap. Yes, for one. You know, I hate it when people talk about CME gaps inside of crypto. Okay, well, maybe hate is a strong word. I just don't use it. Okay, because my technical analysis usually aligns with whichever CME gap there was, anyways. Right, we are around VWAP. Dewald, screw the CME. Can you look at Gala? Yes, boot. Mr. Godfather, welcome to the stream, man. I don't think I've seen you here for a while. Maybe I just haven't read all the comments. Look at Ponke. And what's the playlist? No, this is personally produced music by my brother. You'll hear that it sounds a little bit like Robert Miles, but it's remixed. Yes, if you want the music, you need to listen to my live stream because it's only made for me. Okay, I feel so privileged to have these songs as part of my live stream. But yeah, true. Away on work. What do you think about Jupiter? Can the dealer? Okay, right, guys. Let's look at Mr. Chris. I know you've been asking for Ponke for a while now. Yeah, so let's go look at Mr. Ponke. Ponke USD. Oh, I do actually have it. Yeah. Woo. Okay, this is the 1 hour, right? Almost thought, yo, look at that dump. No, it's not so bad. It's not so bad. Right, just, you know, guys, you know, once you know Elliott wave theory and trend lines, you can't help but not see them. They're just everywhere, right? I mean, look at this. There are such beautiful trades. Breakout, okay? Yeah, if you had your stop below the low, you would have claimed the highs. Beautiful trade. Right, another breakout. Yes, guys, you can day trade the shit out of these things. I mean, it just breaks out. Anyways, let's look at it here on the daily time frame. I just want to see what is cooking with Mr. Ponke. I'm not sure if there's more data available. Okay, well, guys, just listen. You know, I'm not going to dive into Elliott wave theory. I must say, for some altcoins, Elliott wave theory is very complex because depending on the market cap of certain altcoins, especially when the market cap gets really low, okay, they are heavily manipulated, right? And any technical analysis on a low market cap altcoin is not even worth looking at, okay? You need to buy a lotto ticket, hope for the best, and not risk your entire savings. Okay, but there's also a breakout. Just want to see if I'm on the regular scale. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, for some reason, there we go. So from a structural perspective, what I do like, 1, 2, it does look impulsive, nice little, yeah, not the best to finish an impulsive structure on the highest amount of volume. That's something that usually concerns me. Okay, to finish a high on the highest amount of volume usually signifies the end of something and the beginning of something new. So you don't want this to do that, right? Okay. I like to see the highest amount of volume. Yeah, that's where I like to see the highest amount of volume. And then the last peak, I like to see lower volume. It's just something that, you know, from a probability perspective that I pay attention to. Usually when you end an impulse, okay, on a high amount of volume like that, it's usually part of a corrective structure, because C waves loves to end on a high amount of volume. So this could be a C, this could be a B, and then you, well, C. Anyway, guys, it's corrective. Okay, I'm not going to try and count it over here at the moment, but you know, you don't want to. I'm not saying it's corrective. I just don't like the high amount of volume at the tippy top. But let's look at it from a market structural perspective. Okay, you have formed a higher low, which is great. Okay, you've bounced on the maximum target, 786. So if this is a 1, this is a 2, and now you expect a rock and roll move here to the upside, this low should not be taken. So remember, like with Fetch, okay, it has the chance to still make an ABC. This little Ponke over here does not have an opportunity to make another wave to the downside, because it's highly likely it's going to claim the low, because this went too deep already. It's too deep. So this low needs to be protected, and it needs to continue momentum here until it claims the high. Okay. So obviously the best trade, or the best area to have gotten into Ponke was the breakout, okay, of this little trend. That's where you wanted to get in. And there was many breakouts along the way. Now you just have to keep an eye on the smaller time frame. Now you need to keep an eye on this little trend over here. Okay. And from a day trading perspective, because if you are attempting a swing position in this zone, that's a little bit dangerous. You know, swing position should have been attempted with a major breakout over here. Okay, because from a risk to reward perspective, yeah, I must be honest, it doesn't look like the sexiest token from a technical perspective. Yeah, I personally, I think there are just way better technical tokens to trade. Because I'm a technical analyst, I look at the technical structure. Can Ponke do this? Can Ponke, sorry, let me do this again. Do this? Of course. I'm just not a big fan of this structure. Okay, especially with a high volume there in the high. I don't like that. Okay, what I would like to see is for Ponke to take the high, make a higher high, and then the retracement, okay, maybe comes back to support. You play that trend breakout. Then you have a more confirmed trade. If you did not get in over here, okay, I just can't FOMO into where it is at the moment, right, from a risk reward perspective. It's basically rejecting here by this pivot. Okay. What is Ponke, by the way? Is it a meme coin? I don't know what even Ponke is. I think this soundtrack is the secret to winning trades. It just makes some sort of magic inside your head. Yes, Oud Dorpie. I'm not sure. Are you from South Africa? It sounds very South African. Play smart and more importantly, stay smart in the deadly field. Yes. Can you do Jupiter? Right, let's go look at Jupiter. Yeah, guys, I mean, a rising tide, this is something that I like to say, guys. If we get a proper altcoin season, the rising tide will raise all ships. Even the shittest of shit altcoin will have a rally to the upside. I'm a technical trader and I prefer to trade coins that technically make sense to me so that I know where to take profits, where to put my stop losses, manage my trade properly. I'm not just going to buy any flippin' token that's recommended by a YouTube influencer if the technicals doesn't make sense to me. I'm a technical trader and the technicals needs to make sense. But guys, I'm going to look at Jupiter here. I want to show you something on ETH. Okay, Pac-Man, hey. Right. Wait, I now forgot how to spell Jupiter for some reason. My mind is Jupiter. Is it like that? Right. Jupiter. Is it yup? Guys, just confirm, is it yup? USDT? Is it yup? Yeah, Jupiter, it's this one. Right. Let's go look at KuCoin. It usually has the most data. Yo, I must say, guys, this actually does not look bad. The structure looks amazing. And you might be asking, you might be asking yourself, how, Dewald, how does the structure look amazing? Because I'm looking at this high, okay, and I want to see what happened until you made this low. And from this high, I think you could very much agree with me that this looks like a three-wave structure, a lightning bolt. You have a very quick move and you have an incredibly long corrective structure in a three-wave structure. Okay, so there's a good chance that this low could hold. I like this corrective structure. So there's a good chance that the low is in. You've made a higher low. Okay. Just wanted to check something there. And you've taken the highs. So, okay, you're starting to change market structure over here. You took the high. Okay, so now you have officially, you have a high, you have a low, a higher low compared to that low, and now you have a higher high. Okay, that's what I like to see. Just basic technical analysis. You now officially have a higher high. Would be nice to still extend a little bit up here, but technically you have a higher high. You create a higher low, and you know, you continue the momentum to the upside. Higher lows, higher highs, right? Completed three-wave structure here to the downside. So, Jupiter technically is something that I would be interested in. The structure just looks so much better. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. Right. 1, 2, 1. This looks like an expanding structure. I do see them play out on altcoins. Okay. Most amount of volume was in this move, which is fine. Right, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it has the chance. I do like that volume is starting to kick in over here. But you did take the high. So, I mean, what can I say? What can I say? This, okay. If you want to get into Jupiter now, okay, where can it go to? Let's work out some targets for this local structure from the low to the high. You see, guys, this is why I like to trade technical charts that make sense to me, because look at where you got the rejection at the 1-to-1 extension. Beautiful, makes sense to me. The structure looks amazing. You could have played the breakout 1-to-1 extension, okay, which means that this wave and now this wave is exactly the same length in time. You want it to continue a little bit higher for that third wave here to the upside, so it has a chance to come and hit the 1.618. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, threes can extend, like I've said. If you've been following me for a while, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But this could also be a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. It can just build up 1-2s, and the more 1-2s you have, the bigger the explosion to the upside. Okay, but this low should not be taken. For the bulls, you don't want to take that low. 1, 2, 1, 2. If it does get deeper to the upside, alternatively, it still continues until it hits the 1.618. Okay. But yeah, I mean, guys, I'm not sure whether you're asking me to look at it because you want to buy now. But there was your buying opportunity. You're a little bit late now. You have to wait for a three-wave corrective structure. Wait for the trend, play the breakout to the upside. Okay. Right. Can you look at Beam? Can you look at Brett? Hi, Dewald. How is the fee on Bybit trade 5 for US stocks do you recommend? I don't trade stocks on Bybit. I mainly have spot on Bybit at the moment. Okay, most of my swing trades are open on Bluffin and on BTCC. So Bluffin I signed out by mistake, but Femix and Bluffin and BTCC, yeah, I've got my swing trades open running at the moment. Okay, Bluffin, guys, well, the best deals on these exchanges are down in the description. Okay, if you want the lowest trading fees and the biggest sign up bonuses, links are down in the description. I've got swing trades open on Bluffin. I've got swing trades open on BTCC. I also have spot positions open on these exchanges. I don't have any trades open. I have 2 trades open on weeks at the moment, because I actually have more discount than this, because I actually bought a native token, not from an investment perspective, but just to get lower fees. Okay. Right, legends, I actually have to wrap this up, but links down in the description for the best sign-up bonuses and lowest trading fees. But yeah, on Bybit, I only have spot positions at the moment. I don't have any swings running there at the moment. Right, legends, I unfortunately need to go. And thanks for joining the live stream. Thanks for smashing up that like button. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Until the next one, cheers for now.